Wanna get it crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs.
We are a step further away to identifying our champions for today's Valorant Game Changers APAC Series FSL Open 2. And we are your casters to bring on the action. My name's Saya, and with me is Ki Casts. Hello, Ki, how are you?
Doing great. I'm excited for today's games because we're seeing new faces, new teams in the top three, especially if you've been following the circuit since last year. And normally we see, there's the familiar one, of course. The Queens, undefeated still, no series drop, A Celeste, and then we have Team SMG and Bren Esports Victress, previously known as TC Arise. So I'm really excited to see these new teams come in. The power rankings are shifting a little bit, and to me, that's very exciting because we're seeing new blood, new faces, and new rosters as well.
Especially, not only that, like imagine from all of this Open 2, we were able to witness a lot of amazing plays from newer teams, newer faces as well, and all dwindled down to here to be able to identify who's going to be the opponent for Alter Ego Celeste, who is waiting in our grand finals. So later on, we will be checking out the respective team roster once again. And of course, before anything else, in a bit, we will be seeing the calendar of events for the whole FSL circuit. So guys, again, welcome to this final day of Open 2, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it's been quite a ride, Ki.
Yeah, it's been really good. And, we've seen so many opens multiple times. We've seen so many teams come in. We've seen players. We've seen amazing plays. Yesterday, I think we had one game, the very first game of the day, between Bren Victress and Zol Meraki. Already had 2 aces in one game. So it's been really crazy. We were starting to see more players rise up to the challenge and more teams rise up to the challenge as well. And one thing that I wanted to note as well is that the format is also changing, which we will be showing, of course. Format has been improving, becoming even more competitive for these teams, and we're starting to see all of these groups shine because of the format. A lot of these groups making it to playoffs more consistently as well.
Of course, and again, Ki, I'm really excited to see how things are gonna pan out here because anything can still happen. But right now, let's check out the calendar of events for the whole FSL circuit, shall we? So here we do have the very start, which is the VCT Game Changers APAC Open. So we're currently at the Open 2 for this month. And of course, on the next month, we will be having the 3rd, and the month after that, the 4th. Next, we go on and proceed with the Stage 2, which is Open Overtime, followed by the Last Chance, in which our teams get to, register themselves once again for that last chance to finally, get potentially their slots in the final stage, which will happen on October, which is the Elite.
Yeah, the format has changed since last year. Last year we had 6 opens, but now we'll be having an open about every month at the end of the month until like the start of the month. So We are in Open 2 right now, the second one. The third one will be at the end of April and first week of May, and Open 4 will be in end of May, June. So this is exciting because we're seeing teams able to kind of like retool, improve, and start to figure things out as the time goes by. We're starting to see that even from Open 1 to Open 2, things change. We don't see X10 in the top 3 anymore. And of course, they're competing for this prize pool of 5,000 USD across the different teams. These are for the teams that qualify to the playoffs. Of course, the group stages are actually played the week before the playoffs. You're watching the playoffs right now. Most of the group stages were played last week.
And of course, again, the prize pool is a whopping total of 5,000 US dollars, which is divided respectively according to what you guys are seeing on our screens right now. So it's not just the bragging rights, but also there are whopping cash prize pools in here as well. Plus, you also get to have your higher chances of getting that spot in the elite. But let's go ahead and see the group stages or the teams that were able to participate for today's Open 2. And I heard, Key, that this has like a whopping 2 pages in our group stages.
Yep.
Like it's from Group A up to Group P respectively. And look at this, we all see new faces, some are rebranded, and still with all of these teams with the same goal. And it's just really exciting how, as our Open is happening, our registered teams are just increasing all the more. So this platform specifically for FSL is just being very much open to those who are interested in showing off their skills and maybe potentially having a spot for the FSL Elite.
Yeah, the 64 teams, so it's 4 groups of 16 groups of 4. And like you mentioned, it's open for people to just join, form a team. And even if you don't have a team just yet, you're an individual who wants to join, you could look for other people who are forming teams in the FSL community. So that's something to really look out for if you really want to compete. And of course, give our queens and goddesses of FSL and VCT Game Changers APAC a run for their money.
Definitely. And of course, with all of those group stages, this are the final top 8 who were able to qualify for the playoffs. So we do have, of course, the reigning queens, Alter Ego Celeste, followed by X10 Crit Esports, not very much far in the leaderboards. Bren Esports, Victress, Zol Meraki, Team SMG, which we'll be witnessing on the battle between Bren, Aresta, Gandang, and of course Orangutan, one of the newer teams that just debuted today. And speaking of, why don't you give us a rundown on the leaderboards, Key?
Yeah, so in the leaderboards, basically the top teams get more points. The further you go in the playoffs, the more points you get. Of course, because we've only had Open 1, Alter Ego Celeste were the champions. They're at number 1 with X10 Crit, who just finished 4th this tournament, got eliminated by Bren, who is right behind him as well. We have Zolmeraki, Team SMG. Hero Zero KDA, we haven't really seen these playoffs. These are the power. This is the power vacuum that we're seeing basically. Hero Zero KDA, Quintuplet, and Fuma are not in the top 8 right now, but we see Asteria, Gamdang, and of course the rest of the teams in the standings. They're all fighting. So each Open will actually garner you points the further you go. And at the end of the 4 Opens, the teams with the highest points will of course make it to the next stage.
Definitely. So right now we are going to proceed to the games in a bit, but right now let's check out the bracket, the journey of our 8 teams that were qualified here in the playoffs. So you guys can see it, we all dwindled down to AECL winning that upper bracket finals, their spots in the upper bracket finals. Meanwhile, right now we are going to have the game between SMG and of course Bren Victress as well. So Bren Victress was able to really climb their steps in towards the lower brackets, continuing their tournament journey. And you did mention that they were the former TC Arise. So right now, I'm just really excited because these 3 teams are, very much strong into playing these Open 2. So, Key, I don't know about you, but I'm just really, really excited. I mean, of course, before anything else, let's check out the schedule accordingly here for the last day of Open 2.
Yeah, I like this because SMG, they've had a relatively easier bracket. So now we actually see them stack up against Bren, who have been really strong. They beat the second place team from Open 1. They eliminated X10 female last season. The last series rather, yesterday. And basically they also gave A Celeste a run for the money because they got a game off of A Celeste in overtime. So Bren, they look really strong. SMG, they brought A Celeste to 11-13, but it still looked pretty difficult for them. So we'll see if they can stack up against Bren Victress. And Bren Victress, we'll see if they can ascend and basically make it to the grand finals for the first time. So I would see between these two teams who has the bigger guns, who has the better map pick, who has the deeper agent pool, because this is what we've been seeing. And it's a bit of a different style as well between the two teams. For SMG, we're starting to see single duelists or Kohaibi even flexing to Cypher or Sky. On the other hand, for Bren Victress, sometimes we see a double duelist comp, sometimes we see the full Molly comp, which is actually really crazy. I think the two teams have very, very differing styles, and because of that, I actually want to see whether one style trumps the other here.
Indeed, and of course, it's not just about the map composition, of course, and the agent picks as well, but of course, how they very much execute all of these utilities that they have in store whenever they start the game. Sometimes the last-minute decisions in towards the game can leave you to clutches, or can still be outplayed by your opponent team, and we will be witnessing all that in a bit. But again, you did mention three of these teams. Okay, we talked about Alter Ego Celeste, of course, despite having a difference in performance from last year, the fact that they still remain on top is really creating history, that even with the absence of the former IGL, which is Tarathiel, they are still capable of going into the top. Meanwhile, for Team SMG, they have been in towards the scene for quite some time, Kohaibi also being one of the limelights of their team, as well as the other members as well, having their own spotlight as well. And the variety of strategies, as you've mentioned earlier, is really showing in here. It also means that as Team SMG, as time passes by, has the capability to adapt to what is meta, or sometimes having these pocket picks that they have. As well, for Bren Victress here, formerly known as CC Arise from before, they really have their interesting strats. Before, they were very much aggressive. Now they've been very much cautious when each and every take that they have whenever it's either attackers or defenders. So with all of these changes that they have in towards their team play, I'm pretty sure it will lead an impact to what they'll be having for later. But right now, we will be proceeding to the roster lineup, and I'm just so excited to again see these pretty ladies who will be battling out in the first best of threes of the day.
Yeah, so first off, we have Team SMG, of course, the familiar core. Three Singaporean teammates, K4Daddy, Envious, and Kohaibi. They've been in FSL for the longest time under different banners, previously known as the Impaler, Renatus White, and now they've reformed under Team SMG with two Thai players from other teams, Yoki and Fixkey. So this team has been retooled and has become even stronger, I would say. Now reaching a top 3, having had face against Alter Ego Celeste in the upper bracket finals. Now they have a chance to go for that rematch as they try to go against Bren Victress Esports, who have been really, really strong. Bren Victress Esports.
Yeah. Speaking of Bren Esports Victress, we do see again once more some familiar faces right here. We have Alexi, Zinni, Mikasi, Ali, Twirly, and Shirazi, in which, if I'm not mistaken, most of them are from former TC Arise. And again, these ladies have their own way of really getting that spotlight. Alexi with her duelist prowess, Zinni with her support, Mikasi as well is also really popping off with her own role. Ali and, if I'm not mistaken, Shirazi are the ones who are more of the initiator slash Sentinel controller side. So with all of these being able to sync together, I really did see a huge improvement from Bren Esports Victress from all the FSL that we've witnessed them play. And the fact that their synergy and their adaptability in each and every situation is quite evident. And I'm just really thrilled by the growth of all of these ladies, and it all comes down to here, Key.
Yeah, and a sign of their growth as well is Enigma Galaxy female not being here. it's actually
Mm.
because Bren was able to eliminate them in the group stages. That's how strong they are. And now we're taking a look at the map picks. So it seems like we're gonna go for Ascent, Split, and Icebox, with Team SMG selecting the first map and starting on defensive. This is gonna be interesting because I actually think Ascent is very defensive skewed.
Mm. I mean, I agree with you on that. Ascent has been very much used throughout by most of our teams, but Ascent is, your old but gold classic type of map right here. It's going to be selected by Team SMG. Split is selected by Bren Esports Victress, and of course the Icebox as well. We've seen the prowess of Bren Esports with their selected maps, but again, it also depends on how Team SMG is going to outplay them or to counter it out, because yesterday we did see the fight between Aresta and ACL from the sub stream. From that time, we kind of expected that, Alter Ego Extend Crit rather is able to, really close out the fight, but Aresta really gave us a good show. So with that mindset, we can safely assume that anything can still happen despite what the statistics say. So here we do see in Ascent KO very much used in towards this map, and I'm pretty sure, like, from most of the broadcasted teams, KO is really present in this said map, and following it by the other compositions of our team, it's quite similar. Both of them have the Sova and the Killjoy. The difference this time is that Team SMG will be getting that Sage, interestingly enough, in the hands of Kohaibi. Usually I'm kind of used to seeing Kohaibi in the front lines, but this time I think we'll be seeing a battle Sage. What do you think, Key?
Not just a battle sage, but a no duelist lineup for Team SMG. So yeah, I mean, the KO is normal. KO plus Sova is normal as well.
Choose your agent.
Normally you have either Sage or a Cypher or a Killjoy. Cypher's a bit rare now, or the Chamber, but now we have a double Sentinel, double Controller lineup from Team SMG, so they're really doubling down on this defense. On the other hand, for Bren Victress, they're going with the Molly lineup. I love this lineup. I was gushing about it yesterday. They have so many mollies, so many nades. They can clear every single corner because they just have so much offensive utility. So I think of all the teams, Bren have the best usage of offensive utility. Not just on attack, but also on defense, because when they do retakes, when they try to burn down the time, you just can't go in. Mixed with their improved game sense and coordination is just so good right now. So we didn't see Extend Crit do so well against this on Ascent, but we'll really have to see if Bren are able to do this against Team SMG as well. This is where Team SMG will get really tested, and I'm not so sure about this agent lineup, because I think that in the same way that Ascent is defense skewed, like I feel it is, you need a duelist to kind of get into the site. And without that mobility on Team SMG, they really need to win a lot of rounds on the defensive side to ensure victory on this map. Because once they flip sides, it's going to be difficult. They have all of smokes. They have two sentinels, but they don't have a way to get into the site and cut that site like a Jet can do.
Indeed, it's really safe to say that they kind of invested a lot in the agent selection picks here coming into their defender side. So yes, I agree with you. They have to really bank everything from the side that they have chosen right now, because you did mention from the agent selection here, Bren Victress does have the versatility. Regardless of which site that they have, they do have the raise in the hands of Mikasi, which is basically much popping off whenever she does use this. She's able to basically be mobile around the map, catching their enemies off guard. And if we do see a similar feat in that, I think they will be having a kind of a struggle or a challenge to how they are able to shut down Bren Victress at the moment. So yes, I agree with you. Being utility oriented is not that bad, but I feel like they kind of need, for Team SMG, I feel like a duelist, even one duelist could have made the show done, or a bit more, let's say, bit more versatile in terms of their composition. But then again, maybe because of this specific reason, they have something to show for us in here, Kibo. Right now, we will be starting our games in a bit. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, and all preferred orientations, please do go ahead into the respective, social media platforms of FSL to go ahead and watch these amazing games. So to start it off, there is going to be the suppress, but no one is going to be caught by it. Liking the mid approach here coming in from Bren.
Yeah, this Bren approach, we normally see them do a heavy execute on A, or a mid B split 4-1. Actually, Bren typically has two very strong plays in their playbook whenever they're on attacking. We see that on Icebox. It's the same philosophy, either A main or mid to B, and it looks like it's gonna be a mid to B as well. Vixky is gonna get taken down. Aphrodite takes on Alexi, and it looks like Bren are just gonna storm into this site. They take 2 down and traded for 1, but Team SMG still have a chance for this retake.
Indeed. So right now, this is the post-plan situation, a full-on retake for the side of SMG. Got 2 casualties from SMG at the moment. Look at all these positions. So because of that jiggle peak, they are now informed. But that's going to be one from Yoki, one from the other. But they were able to sandwich everything down. The post-plan positions of Bren kind of took them a bit off guard, being close together too much in towards the site, not really checking the other angles per se here. So that was a very good clutch coming in to start off our game 1, Key.
I completely agree. The post plan is actually very strange from Bren because yesterday when we were watching Bren, we were praising their post plans because they know how to set up their post plans. Their post plans are wide and spread out, and they cover multiple angles. This time around, for their post plan, they had 4 on site. 1 in backside and 3 on the site itself. So when Yoki threw that flash, everyone was just completely